Hello, interweb. Okay, I'm here talking to you guys because I was given a project by the crustiest English teacher in the world, Ms. Collier. And here's a question I have to answer. Videotape a review of the novel I Read A Tale of Two Cities. It's a really good book. And explain why the author chose this title. Hint, hint. The title is almost always ironic. Well, A Tale of Two Cities was placed in two cities. I guess that's not ironic. I just guess that's common sense. So, A Tale of Two Cities, it took place in London and it took place in Paris. It was a beautiful story about sacrifice and change and a lot of war and stabbing and shooting. I didn't know there was so much shooting back in the French Revolution. I didn't know that girls just had pistols hidden in their bosom. It's not right. But I guess a girl gotta protect herself. I'm all with protecting yourself. It was just like, ooh. Okay, so the novel, in the beginning, Charles comes to London for no real reason. So he comes here, he gets charged for treason because he's from Paris, coming to London, thought he was some sort of spy or whatnot. So the law system back in London is crappy, kind of like ours, but we kind of deal with our crappiness. So his only defense that his lawyer thought of was he looks like someone else, so he couldn't have done it, or it could have been him, leaving no real perpetrator to the crime. So here we have Charles, who meets his look-alike Sydney. Sydney is an unsuccessful drunkard lawyer, it's really sad. He believes that no one has his back. He doesn't trust anybody, just him and his solo cup, YOLO. But he lives a very sad life. What I failed to mention during the court case, Lucy Manette, who's, I don't want to say basic, but basic's a good word to describe her. She's not the fairest maiden of them all, not the belle of the ball, but hey, she's looking way better than Sharkeisha. So Lucy Manette, she was at the trial. She testified against Charles because she was in the cart going uphill one night. It was evening. Everybody was scared. I remember reading that. So she's testifying saying, I think I might have saw him, but I'm not certain. And Charles and Sydney fall in liking with her. Let's not say love yet, because love is a strong word, but in liking with her. So it's like this weird love triangle that no one realizes that they're in yet. But Lucy kind of got a thing for Charles. She's like, he's cute. And you would think, if you thought that Charles was cute, then you'd think that Sydney was cute because they look like the same person. But I guess not. So later on, we find that Charles is the Montagues, I hope that's how you say it, the Montagues' nephew, which is basically like our president, kind of, sort of, a little bit. He's a nobleman. And Montagues have a bad history. A very, very, very bad history. They run over the poor. They don't treat them. They feel like they're God and they're peasants, and it's just a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of conflict there. So the current Montague, who never really said his name, he's just the Montague. No, it can't be Montague. I think it's Mansquire. One of those two names. So anyways. So one of those two names. So the Mountain Squire runs over one of the townspeople, like runs over a little boy. Yes. Blood and everything, just straight through him with the carriage. And the town wanted to kill him. I mean, I would have killed him too. You just killed my baby, and then gives me a penny and tells me to deal with it. I don't agree with a lot of this thing. So the Montague's nephew, Charles, he disowned his inheritance. He doesn't want to be a part of that history, and I don't blame him, because I wouldn't claim that either. I don't care about all the money. I don't care about all the clothes. Don't care about all the power. The power is what's making them corrupt, which is why they think they're better than everybody else. So after he disowns that, he talks to one of his old servants, Galabelle. I'm pretty sure it's Galabelle, and Galabelle wants to go with Charles, but he's like, I can't take you because I disown life and I can't afford to keep a servant. So Galabelle stays in Paris while Charles goes back to London and gets all friendly with Lucy, and then they get engaged. But before that, the Montague dies because one of the townspeople stabbed him in his sleep, starting the French Revolution, and it was just like, oh, a bunch of blood and gore. So going back to London, Lucy and Charles are engaged, little lovebirds. But as I said before, Sydney likes Lucy too. So when Sydney finds out they're engaged, he goes over to her house and says, I love you, I really love you, and I want the best for you, which is why you can't love me, because I'm dysfunctional. Not in those words, but that's how it's interpreted. So even though he loves her, he doesn't want, he knows that she can't be with him, because he's not the best choice for her. There's Charles, which I don't know why he's better if they look the same, but like personality wise, Charles is better. So during this conversation, Sydney, got my names messed up. Sydney makes Lucy a promise about sacrifice. He said he would sacrifice anything for her, her loved ones, anybody that Lucy cared about. Just, if I could give my life, I'll do it for you. And that is really powerful towards the end of the book. I didn't say this earlier because it really creeped me out and I really didn't want to talk about it, but Madame Defarge, she's creepy. She knits, you know how old grandmas knit sweaters? Yeah, she knits, but when she knits, she's a register of people that she wants to get killed. And let's just say I can't look at knitting the same, because that's just, why? Why are you knitting names that you're gonna kill? So, life goes on. Charles and Lucy have a baby named Lucy Darnay. It's like the prettiest name ever. But yes, named Lucy Darnay. So they're going through life. Life is decent. So we're going through life. And Charles gets a letter from Garbel, his old servant. Garbel is placed in jail because he's related to, because he works for the Marquise. One of those two names, you know. Because he works for the Marquise, and anybody who works for the Marquise has to go to jail and could potentially be hung on be killed, executed by the guillotine. Yeah, the guillotine. Okay, we all know I can't spell. So Charles is like, I have to go back. I have to go save him. If I just took him with me, he would still be alive right now and all that, blah, 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 blah. So he's going to Paris. Nothing is stopping him. So everybody follows him because, it's Charles. We have to follow him because Charles is just the best, right? So Charles goes to Paris, and they see that no one really put in his papers to say that he disinherited the place. So in Paris's eyes, he's still related to the Marquis, one of them. And he goes to jail because he's related to them. So Lucy Manette and her father come in, and Lucy's dad, who was a prisoner, who was a long-time prisoner at the jail in Paris, comes to his aid and tries to get him out, but looks like he wrote some letter a long time ago saying all the people who are noblemen should go be killed, and which was stupid. You know, some things you write in the heat of the moment. You shouldn't keep a paper trail. When you keep a paper trail, bad things like this happen. Anyways, so after his trial, he's sentenced to be executed by the guillotine. And everybody's sad. Lucy's sad. Lucy's dad's sad. Lucy, her daughter, Lucy, is sad. But Sidney has a plan. Sidney comes to Paris. He's like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to switch clothes with him. Because, you know, we all say we look alike. So I'm going to just tie my hair up, wear his clothes out. And then I'm going to die. And he's going to live. Which was his promise that he made to Lucy. That I would make any sacrifice to make your life happy. Which is the sweetest thing ever. So as they go, he goes into his jail cell, visiting him. He's like, you know, take off your jacket. Take off your hair tie and make it look like mine. You know, take off your boot. He's like, you can't escape. There's no escape. Did I ask you to escape? No, I just asked you to strip. I know that sounds wrong because we two men in a jail cell, but all I asked you to was to strip. So he makes him write a letter. The letter, Sidney made Charles write the letter that he was going to write to Lucy. It was actually pretty sad. So he also brought in this medicine he got from a chemist. That would be our modern day chlorophyll. No. Whatever it is that they put over your mouth and it makes you just knock out. That's what happened to Charles. And Charles is knocked out. So Sidney put on all of Charles' clothes Sidney put on all the Charles clothes, and Charles, he put his clothes on Charles. So they would drag out Charles thinking it was Sidney, and Sidney stayed in the cell saying he was Charles so that Charles could live in Lucy can live a happy life. So Lucy and the knocked out Charles and her dad went back to London. What I failed to mention, Miss Prose, you know, she's like the grandma type. You wouldn't think she'd do anything bad. She kills Madame Dufarge. Yes, Madame Dufarge with the gun in her bosom. Madame Dufarge with the knife on her. Madame Dufarge, okay? With the knitting. The evil knitting. She shoots her. Well, not by accident. She moves the gun and the gun goes off. But you know how... That was just a powerful moment. I was just like... And she was like, I'm from Britain. Let me find that in the book. That deserves to be read. One second. Because this is just like my favorite part of the book ever. Oh. I am a Briton, said Miss Prose. I am desperate. I do not care an English twopence for myself. I no longer have to keep you here. I have great hope there for my Lady Bird. I will not leave a handful of that dark hair upon your head if you lay a finger on me. She laid it down like she was from Compton. So, yes, everybody goes back to London except for Sidney, who dies for Charles, with his last words being, which also deserves to be read. It is far, far better that I do than I have done before. It is far, far better rest that I will go than I have known, that I've ever known. And that ended the most beautiful, tragic story of my life. Child Two Cities. Read it. Did I answer the question fully? Let's check. Oh, why did I chose South? Because they were in two cities. It was the tale of the two cities. It was a tale of the two cities. Okay, it was a tale of London and Paris and how they were acting during the American Revolution and the French Revolution. Because London and France weren't friends because France was America's ally in the American Revolution. So they'd never really trust each other. So bye.